Hello, my friends. Good to see you here tonight. Special night tonight. One of the last opportunities for you to see me in the year 2021. And I have a precious sister here with me. We're in the same world where we all should be. We should all be connected. Coach Dean here with you tonight. This is the My Personal Reality Show where we have an opportunity to connect with C-suite executives, coaches, consultants, dedicated business owners, those people that want to see themselves work less hours a day, less days a week, have more time to commit ourselves to having life and joy in that life and be in a place where we are just happy rather than stress. I specialized in high ticket lead generation, leadership development, and I love working with the law of attraction because guess what? It's a law, my friends. You cannot escape it. So what is the My Personal Reality podcast all about? Well, we are here to pick the brain of my interviewee and get that little tidbit, that gold nugget that we all are searching for. I'm hoping that you're going to resonate and align with Hailey because I certainly do. I'm very, very pleased and honored to have her here with me tonight. And of course, I just want to learn more and help you learn more about Hailey's life, her ideas, her lessons, some advice tips that she might have, business insights, anything that, and of course, if you have questions that you want to ask Hailey, by all means, jump in those comments. This production is sponsored by Dean Brown Marketing Limited. And of course, we are here to help you get where you need to get and change your paradigm. Hailey Rowe, good to have you here with me tonight. How are you, sister?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited to be here. And thank you so much, Dean, for your work and your show.
Oh, it's a passion. We have to be in that place where we're following our passions, because if we're not following our passions, then what are we doing it for, right? We got to have a why. And if this is an inspirational thought, as a matter of fact, because these days, inspiration and having a strong why sometimes comes from a negative place. We're inspired negatively in a lot of cases because of what's going on for the last couple of years. And we want to break through. We want to get away from that. We want 2022 to be something that you rule, not that rules you. So by all means, I'm hoping that we can help you get there with a mindset change, a thought for a paradigm change, or something along those lines. And I'm hoping that you resonate with Hailey and you connect with her after this call. So Hailey, just out of curiosity, now that we have you here and we're really ready to listen to your wisdom and your experience, what is your background? Share with us who you are and why you've chosen to do what you do. Maybe throw in there a little bit of an interesting fact about your background or something that's shaped who you are today.
Totally. Well, I am a marketing and sales coach and strategist, and I also co-founded a company called Power Player, where we help you amplify your online influence and reach. And really, I love working with online business owners, and I love helping entrepreneurs. Well, I say they call themselves coaches. So usually I work with coaches, consultants, all those kinds of people, but I help them transform into entrepreneurs and really become someone who can book clients, market themselves online, that kind of thing. And my background started about 10 years ago, and I knew I loved business. I knew I loved personal development. I knew I wanted to help people, but I didn't know what shape that was going to take. And I got my bachelor's in entrepreneurship. I'd also always been into health and wellness. And I had a couple of certifications and things like that in life coaching and health and wellness and all that good stuff. And I wanted to learn how to have my own coaching business, but the certification programs only get you so far, and you have to then learn how to do your own business. So I worked in startups. So I worked for a lot of health startups for a while. And that was like a crash course in entrepreneurship and learning how do you write copy and what should you have on your website and what do you do to market yourself in the area and online. And that's when I was like, okay, this is good insight. I would have never realized all of this and kind of put my business on the side. I was just thinking, oh, I'm going to work at this startup. It was pretty draining. I was living in Venice, California, and just having a lot on my plate. And one day the company just let everybody go and just said, you know what, we're having a lot of delays. we didn't realize that, you know, we overhired too soon. We got to pause this project, yada, yada, and come back in maybe a year and we'll be ready for you then. So I was like, well, okay, I don't want to do that.
No
I didn't
kidding.
want to wait a year. And I had just signed a lease. I'm from Chicago originally, but I had moved there for this dream job and it was going really well. And I had just been told I was going to get promoted. And then immediately it was like, whoops, actually, never mind. So I was like, I don't know where, I don't even need to stay here. I could be around my family. I could go back home where my friends are too. And thankfully, the apartment I was going to move into, they found black mold in the inspection. So I was able to be like, okay, I'm out. And I moved to Chicago. I joined a wedding band all of a sudden, and I started my own business. So I started to help people who are coming to me naturally, which were health and wellness coaches, and then expanded to more other types of coaches and consultants and B2B type of businesses, and helping them grow their business, you know, market themselves online and do what I was doing kind of in the startup world and what I learned at business school, but in the real world. So that's what I've been doing ever since 2017. I've been in the coaching industry for now it's 11 years since we're heading into the new year. So it's been a wild ride, and I was kind of in the industry too before it was super cool. And it's cool to see how it has changed and evolved. And meanwhile, I sing and have had top song in Macau, China, as a fun fact, if that's something you want to hear. And it's been a blast.
Awesome. Now that I would say that is a real trip through the hard knocks. And a couple of little bonuses from the law of attraction, right? Because you were in that place where, you know, you went to California and you were all caught up in this new dream job. And a lot of people do use the word dream when they talk about a job. Meanwhile, most of the time it's more like a nightmare because the job is not something that gives you freedom. It's actually holding you down. And a lot of people don't understand that. And that's one of the things that I find when I help C-suite executives. They're in that place where they're, you know what? I just made $150 million worth of sales this year past. And I asked my president for a month off, which I felt I deserved because it was my my child's, you know, it's that time for their summer break or whatever the case. And they said no.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, but I just made you all those dollars and I did all that work for you. And you're telling me, no, I can't have time with my family. And this is a very, very, and of course, look what happened with you. You were up for a promotion. You were up for, you know, an improvement in your circumstances, and they pulled the rug out from underneath you. So this is one of the things that really makes a difference for us in life, is to be aware.
Right. And it's crazy. You do think, oh, having this day job is so stable. This is the safe way to go. They, you know, they say they love me. Like, this is great. But in a second, it can change and they can replace you. And it's not about you. It's about, you know, let's make this company happen. And however that takes form is not, you got to take responsibility that it's not stable necessarily. Now, is there more certainties probably than starting your own business? Maybe, but even that, you know, today you really can't even argue that it's the safer route. Both have discomfort, both have hardships, and you got to pick which one you want to do. So I thought, might as well pick something that ultimately I wanted to do anyways. And Dean, my major regret when I was working at that startup was that I did put my business on hold. I had been getting traction, getting SEO, like doing things. And I stopped because I was like, well, I got to be smart. I got to get a real job and I got to do this first. And I totally put it on hold. And I could have been probably a lot further along in my business if I had just been like, no, I'm going to trust that I can figure it out. I'm going to trust I can do this and go for it.
That's amazing. The way the twists and turns occur in our lives, we have to be aware of what it is that we want to do, because in that place comes our opportunities. Those doors open. We got to have our mind and our awareness in a place where we actually notice those doors open. For example, you were mentioning the black mold. You know, that was a super fortuitous circumstance that, like, really, first the job's gone and then the place to live is gone. Like, wow, okay, now this is not a disaster. This is a bonus, right? But many people would have said, oh my God, what do I do? And they would have just, ended up on the streets in California, right?
Yeah.
Homeless, jobless, maybe, just hopeless. And this is what you and I do, Hailey. This is one of the things that we do it for ourselves so we can help other people do it for themselves. And this is, the beauty of having these experiences. I had the same circumstance happen to me coming up on 20 years ago, in 2008, when the world went for an economic little spanking, and I
Mhm.
lost my six-figure a year job essentially overnight.
Wow.
And it was like coming right up on my 20th anniversary. Do you think they gave me my 20th anniversary? No. Out the door, bro. See you later. Right. And it was like, what? And of course, at the time,
Mhm.
I was a sole breadwinner, and 5 kids, right? And that really sent me down on a tailspin, because I was taught by my dad that a job is the only way to go. And I
Right.
didn't even have that background of you, where I was actually starting a business on my own on the side. That didn't even occur to me until after I tried to kill myself twice. So this is, one of those things where, wow, you are in such a better place. But these tough lessons are the things that make us powerful as entrepreneurs, as leaders, as influencers, those places where we are actually like, hey, man, I've been there. I know what you're going through, my friend. And this is how we can help people the most. So, what would you say, having said that, would be your most treasured skill, or skill set, or thing that you help people more intuitively with?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a really good question. So I've always been a performer. Like I grew up singing. I was an actress for a little while. I definitely am glad I stopped acting. It's not my thing. Um, but I'm very I got good at taking rejection. I got good at just being self-assured by myself and not other
Mhm,
people, or needing
mhm,
external validation at a young age,
mhm.
which is an incredibly valuable thing when you're running a business, because I'm able to separate myself from my business, and not be like, well, they hate me, they rejected me. No, it's not a fit. They don't want to do X, Y, and Z that I help people do, and it's fine. Like,
Yep.
so not being over dramatic and not overthinking things, and being like a perfectionist and hyper analytical about every little tiny detail in my business. I'm a quick starter. I will, go get something done within a certain amount of time frame that I give myself, and I won't be like, there's no looking back. It's not
Yep.
like I'm constantly like, oh, every little detail. What are they going to think about every little line in this thing, right? So being unoffendable in a way.
Yeah.
um, and I think what I work on with my clients a lot, or what I see in my clients sometimes when they're starting out, is everything has so much weight. It's
Yeah.
just, oh my gosh, like I got rejected. I can't show up today. And letting how external circumstances play out turn into reasons why they're not continuing to be consistent. It turns into more of a, why bother? This is
Mhm.
so hard,
Yeah.
a thing like that. And you cannot grow business from that
No,
headspace.
absolutely.
So I think that's one of the most valuable things I had to learn. And I learned it through pain. Like I went on auditions and heard people be like, no, and or you just, or get ghosted. You never hear back anything.
Right.
So I just had to learn to adapt.
Beautiful, beautiful. You mentioned the word ghosting, and this is one of the things that I find most prevalent with my clients. It is when they get ghosted, they totally blame themselves. They don't come to
Mhm.
that place where what you were mentioning, where unoffendable, right?
Yeah.
It's never about us, Hailey. It's always about the other people in their lives. They're not
Mhm.
sitting in their house thinking, how do I avoid Hailey or Dean? They're sitting at home in their lives thinking, how do I handle this situation for Mike or Joe or Sue or whatever the case, whoever it is.
Mhm.
And it's not about us.
Yeah.
It's about them. And having, you mentioned being unoffendable, or rejection. We haven't even spoken about haters yet. The people that actually talk about, like, that actually take time out of their day to be negative about what we're doing. And
Mhm.
that is one of the most dangerous rabbit holes any entrepreneur can go down, is to be in that mindset where they actually take it personal. You and I, I'm sure, have built our business from the bricks of haters. Throw those bricks, baby, because guess what? Those bricks hold the keys to the things that we need to change or be aware of so that we can be better business people. Would you not agree?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think you even can learn from your haters, right? Like
Yep.
sometimes it's like if I said, "Oh, Dean, you have blue hair." You'd be like, "No, I don't." Like I don't even have, and so you'd be able to be like, "No, I'm not going to take that piece of feedback as like what's true and what my business is." But if I said something that has like a tiny bit of truth to it,
Mm-hmm.
like, and you do feel like, ooh, that's a tug, right?
Right.
You can learn and use that as feedback and say to yourself, not from a judgmental, I'm so bad or whatever, but like, do I want to consider this feedback? Is there some truth to it? Is there something I can learn from this?
That's right.
Or is it what you said, just about the other person and their own struggles and their
Yep.
own thing kind of being projected towards you? Because
Yep.
a lot of times it is that last one, but sometimes there's some truth, like, oh, maybe I do send too many emails. Maybe my audience doesn't want to hear from me this much. Maybe I'll do a poll and find out. Like, and so I'm always about, what can I learn? Like, what's the data I can get from this feedback? And a ghosting thing means something. It
That's
means,
right.
oh, either it was the wrong person, it was the wrong messaging, it didn't click, with their dream outcome. It wasn't urgent enough for them. The value wasn't there. Like, so we want to find out. Now, this most people would prefer to be ghosted than to hear a no. I mean, I think a lot of people would, but I would prefer to hear a no, and why? Because then I can be like, okay, great. I know that person wanted somebody who, like, I actually got a piece of feedback that somebody who didn't want to enroll in my program, which is all good with me. I just was like, well, what, can you tell me a little feedback? She wanted somebody who was strictly focused on faith-based women, was faith-based, was faith-driven. Everything was about faith in the program. Like, and that's just not me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it suddenly turned from, oh no, like she doesn't want to work with me, to, okay, I wasn't what she was looking for. That's
Right.
fine. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, not, anyways, I think there's so much value to be in the yeses and in the nos.
The irony is the yeses are where you make the money, the nos are where you learn the lessons.
Yeah.
The better the lesson, the more money you can earn from the lesson. So in a lot of ways, if we can be resilient enough to actually do what you just mentioned, do a poll, ask some information, ask questions. Yes, we don't want to be ghosted. We want to actually be rejected, because in those rejections lies those little golden nuggets where we're going to find out that lady was looking for a faith-based leader, and you're not that. So now it's not about you, which of course we knew that in the first place, but you had that little question, is it about me? Well, it is, only from the fact that you're not a faith-based leader, which is, you're better off not working with that individual, because you will not resonate with her. And she will just end up asking for her money back, because you're not going to give her what she needs. And this is one of those things. We're in a sorting business, right? Not a convincing business. And we need to be in a place where we can sort out the people that we resonate with, so that we can actually make a difference in their lives. Because we learned how to make a difference for us, and we have people paying us to help them make a difference for themselves.
Yeah.
Within that, we need to have resources. We need to have things that we can fall back on, systems, processes, automation, that sort of thing. What would you suggest would be one of your biggest resources for you these days in business?
Yeah. So you mean like something that makes my life easier?
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm a huge fan of, well, I think I'll tell you a personal example and then I'll tell you a business
Sure.
example. So I use an app called Toggle. It's TOGGL.
Okay.
It's a timer app. And I time myself pretty much on everything, unless it's my personal, like unless it's the weekends and I'm with family or something. I don't put a timer on like when I'm with my family.
Thank God.
Anything work related, answering, client support, answering LinkedIn messages, whatever. I time myself and I get a report every week that tells me where I spent my time. And that tool alone just is so useful to me because number one, when you're timing yourself, you don't get distracted as much because you got to pause the timer. And I don't want my timer to be on inaccurate. So like if my timer's going and I'm shifting a task from one thing to another thing, I got to pause the timer. I got to get back, etc. So it keeps me focused. Number two, it shows me the general areas where I'm spending my time, and I can connect my results to how I'm spending my time. So if I'm saying, wow, I spent, X hours on client building activities, which are like, answering my messages, or how many client building calls was I on this week, I'm able to see that, and I'm able to see, oh, well, no wonder why this was a great week or a bad week, because I can see my time. And then I'm able to see inefficiencies too. Like I'm like, wow, I spent so much time on content this week. It's time for me to, train so-and-so on how to do blah, blah, blah. So I am obsessed with tracking. Anything you can do to track yourself and your team and your data, rather than making decisions based on, I feel like doing this. And I know I'm somebody like you, Dean, who loves like the law of attraction and stuff. So I do use a lot of that. I do believe you have to go in, the feeling behind what you're doing has to match as well. But I do think we also need the data and tracking and that kind of thing. So that's a huge one. Another one from a business standpoint, what do I use with business? I love voice notes. That's not really like a tool per se, but I think we need to talk about how in this day and age, we need to be connecting deeper with people online. And so videos of yourself talking to somebody, voice notes of somebody, of you talking to somebody, it goes a lot farther these days, I think, than any time before, because we really want that connection and we want to cut through the BS. So sometimes in written form, we can't do that, and people want to connect with someone. So that's a big thing. But I'm trying to think if there's any other technology. I use Kartra for my emails and hosting my memberships and stuff. But other than that, I would say, and Calendly.
Calendly, yep.
I love it. Yeah.
Because it has a good automation system, a good workflow system, where like this is how I connected with you on my onboarding form. And as soon as you booked a time and a day, that activated all the automation. And automation is awesome for freeing up time, as long as you don't turn it into a bot for connections, because you mentioned previously something that's super important in today's days of sales, and that is the connection. We need to be in a place where the people that we're prospecting are in a place where they're saying, wait a second, I like that person's voice. I like the fact that they shared a voice clip with me, or a video is even better, right? And be in that place where you've said, hey, so I'm happy to have connected with you, and I'd love to, be in that place where we can just resonate on a bit of a call, and see what I can do to help you, and see what that would be the case. And of course, when we're in that place, we are really building that connection, that relationship. And if we can't foster and build that know, like, and trust factor with people, then we're just another part of the noise. We're just, another fish in the big blue sea. We haven't made ourselves into that place where we're actually being unique, and we have to be unique in order to be effective. Because if we don't stand out, we fall back.
Right.
And we have to be in that place where we not only know how to stand out, but consistently do just that, stand out, find something that resonates with what you do. And of course, one of our people is sharing that she loves tracking. She's a former client of mine, and she's doing really well for herself. And tracking is brilliant. So thank you for that, Dana. Appreciate that comment. And we are in a place where now influence is one of those things that we find we're inspired by people that we follow. We're given inspiration because we've seen or heard or encountered somebody else that's like, wow, that person's amazing. So having said that, I'm going to ask you if there's 3 people that have been the most influential for you, maybe a mentor, maybe a family member, or a historical figure.
Totally. I love that question. So I would say I really love Brooke Castillo as far as somebody who talks about mindset. And, I totally believe in her principles as far as how our thoughts create our feelings, create our actions, create our results. I would say another person who's inspired me is my mom, because
Beautiful.
she showed me that you can have it all. She's a very, very successful realtor, and was a mom to my sister and I. And it was inspiring to see a mom who like worked and just was like, I like having that independence for herself and that sense of confidence she had from her work. And just her constant personal development is really inspiring. And then I would say another person just in the media or in show business who I wouldn't say I resonate so much nowadays, because I just haven't been on social media. I don't even know what she's doing these days. But Madonna, the reason why I bring her up is because she is incredibly disciplined, and she makes her shows such a production that it's so entertaining. And also just in general, she it doesn't really care what people think of her.
Right.
And she just is like, yeah, this is me, and take it or leave it. So I love that about her, and I love that she's very disciplined and shows that through her work and her specifically her tours. I mean, I like her tours and her dancers and her production better than I like her music, to be honest. Such an amazing example of like, here's someone who loves their career, goes all in, and it has a lot of discipline.
And all in is what you said, and that's one of the things that makes the difference for anybody that wants to be successful. Your mom went all in, right? What was the first lady, Claire?
Brooke Castillo.
Brooke Castillo. And that I've never heard of that lady. Does she talk on about the law of attraction? What does she do?
She studied the law of attraction. She's also a fan of like Abraham Hicks, who I love as well. But yeah, hers is a little bit different. She takes things from all the greats, just like every personal development person. So she likes the law of attraction, but she also likes, Tony Robbins and that take massive action and stuff like that. So it's a little
go all in as part of the point we're making here. So my friends, anybody that's watching this now or watching the replay, go all in, show up, be one of those people, and you did this earlier when you said people.
I don't know why we're doing that today. I've never done that.
You're inspiring me, Hailey.
No, sorry.
But the irony is that we need to take that note from Madonna and don't care what other people think. Do what matters for you, what resonates for you, what builds up your strengths. And there's a lot of myths that people fall back on, a lot of propaganda, a lot of misinformation, a lot of left out information. And I'm just curious if there's any myth about our industry that you'd like to debunk.
Ooh, that's a great question. I think there's a myth that you need to post on social media all the time, or that's what you should be spending your time on to be successful as an online coach. And I actually don't think content and posting is the main thing that's going to get you clients. So I see so many people just like hoping, wanting, and waiting for people to just discover them on social media and read their content and reach out to them. And that's only going to happen if you're doing things like we do, Dean, which is like lead generation. You're paying somebody for lead generation or whatever. But when you're starting out, you got to go find them. Like, you got to put yourself in front of them. They're not just going to magically discover you. So that's one myth for beginners that I would totally highlight. And I think another myth is that everybody who's a coach just wants to live on the beach and be a nomad and like do all these things. I'm like a hermit. I love working from my house and being with my cats. And I did take workations this winter and go somewhere warm. I'm all up into that, but I'm not like, the reason why I'm doing this is because I love helping people transform themselves, like become a different person by the end of our coaching and do things that they didn't think were possible, and like be like, wow, I am capable of producing my own, clients and money and helping people and making my impact and doing what I love and seeing that confidence in them. That's why I do this. It's not because I want to travel the world and like be a nomad and whatever. But I think there's this misconception that all these people like who are influencers and stuff are just superficial and like care about that kind of thing. And I don't think that that's necessarily true.
Beautiful. I agree with all of that, because the whole reality of it is to stay in reality. We want to be in a place where we're not making a post and then sitting there waiting for listening to the crickets, waiting for the world to notice. The world's not going to notice, my friends. And we need to be in that place where we're just doing what we know needs to be done. We need to put ourselves out there, like you said, Hailey, because if you don't, no one's ever going to notice. And that's the powerful thing. And I love the fact that you mentioned cats. If you are ever in a place to follow me on Instagram, I talk about my local creek, my local park where I do the creek videos, and my 2 awesome ragdoll cats. Because, and I had just one just kind of charge past me here just now, because if they're in the room with me all the time when I'm working, and if I am foolish enough to close the door, then they're going to go there, meow, meow, I want out. And so I have to be aware of that. And this is what we want to do. We want to stay where our passions are real for us, what it is that makes your heart sing, what it is. And of course, you mentioned having a hit in, where was it, China?
Yes, in China.
Wow, congratulations. I'm so impressed with that, because there's a lot of listening people in China. So that kind of brings up this question for me. What is the one thing, the biggest goal, the deepest passion that you're trying to leave, like a legacy for what you do?
Yeah, I love that question. I really want to be an example of using of someone who continually grows and somebody who is helping others do the same in their life and with the little things that you do each day. So it sounds super cliche because I'm sure everybody wants to do this, but like, I really do love I don't just love the goal, achieving the goal. I love the process. Like I love seeing myself be like, wow, making progress in these areas. I can see the improvements, that kind of thing. The process of growth is what's most important to me. So anytime I'm staying stagnant or not trying something new or not refining something, like that is to me like why even live like that. So growth is key to me, and helping other people grow within themselves, and just do things that they didn't think were possible before.
Yeah. There's no such thing as can't. I was doing a goal setting live video last night, and Dana was following me then again last night, and she mentioned there is no such word as can't. Never say never. And that is, there's as when we're setting goals, we have to be careful that we don't put ourselves in a place where we can't achieve the goal. But still, if you give yourself that freedom, you'll actually choose goals that are going to stretch you and bring you to a new level. And this is what it's all about. So Todd, we've got a bit of a banner going across here, being shy is expensive, and your 4-step framework to booking more clients. Did you want to talk about that?
Totally. But before I do it, I just want to say, I think the point of the goal is not to actually even achieve the goal. The point of the goal is who you become, trying to stretch yourself to become that person who is at that goal. So yes, you'll achieve it eventually. Give yourself a big stretch goal and enough time to do it. But at the same time, the whole point is that you have to think differently, do things differently, and evolve differently to be that person who's at that goal. And that's the real work and fun. So, but yeah, I wanted to talk about a couple things. So when I say being shy is expensive, what I mean by that is by you hiding and continuing to wait till everything's perfect and overthinking everything and thinking you're not ready yet or not good enough yet is costing you from being able to reach the people you're meant to reach. And there could be somebody looking for what you are doing. And because you're hiding and you think it's not ready yet, they go to somebody who just is good at marketing and gets in front of them and might not be as good as you. They might, but they might not be. So that like upsets me. Like, I'm like, and usually the people who are hiding the most are really good at what they do. So I highly suggest reading the book Finished by John Acuff and getting over your perfectionist stuff and just getting out there. And then when it comes to the 4-step framework to booking more clients, excuse me, I have a framework called Grow Your Business the Fast Way. And this is an acronym. So it stands for followers, action, sales, time management, and transformation.
Yep.
What I mean by that is with followers, you have to, going back to, I'll use coaches as an example.
Sure.
You have to be able to have enough people coming in each week and booking a call with you so you have opportunities to make offers so that your results become more predictable. Because if you never have the opportunity to have leads to talk to and to make an offer to help somebody,
Yep.
of course, your business is not going to be, you're not going to know how you're going to get to your goals. You
That's
need
right.
to get that data and you need to have that going continuously every week for you. So we talk about how do you do that? How do you find your leads online? How do you nurture your leads? How do you get calls each week? That kind of thing.
Yep.
Action stands for how do you create content that's compelling enough that people actually want to reach out to you. So in addition to you know, being visible to them, how do you create a message and a content and a community that's so compelling that people want to reach out to you?
Yep.
And then sales stands for, obviously, how do you coach through common objections? How do you position your offer? How do you rock your discovery calls if you take calls as a coach? And what is your sales process? Do you have an upsell? Do you have a downsell? Like, what's the typical client journey?
Exactly.
And then time management is how do you, what should you focus on? Because this is probably the biggest one. There's so many things you could focus on. And so many people start something, kind of do it halfway, quit, think it doesn't work, jump to another thing, but versus refining, improving the one thing that's going to work. It hasn't worked yet. And you need to keep working it out. Right.
Right.
So getting focused really. And then the last piece is transformation. So that's two things. That's, what's the personal transformation required of you to get to the next level? So those go back to how do you crush your imposter syndrome and not let it rule you? How do you stop, procrastinating, things like that? And then transformation for your clients. What is the outcome they want? Are you communicating that clearly? And do you have good social proof and testimonials and stuff like that to back it up? So those are the things that if you're trying to make decisions in your business, or if you're trying to know what to focus on, those pillars should give you a little bit of an idea of like, does it fit within this?
Yep. Beautiful. Well said. Well said. And I like it because it's clear, concise, and compelling, which is what we all want to be able to embrace. We want to keep it simple, keep it super simple. We want to, keep it in a small package. Don't try to make a whole big bunch of different packages that you never really fully complete because there's too many of them to complete. Same as goal setting. You don't want to give yourself too many goals that you can't complete or have them all show up at the same time as far as your timeline is concerned. So we want to be in that place where we can really make a difference in our transformation, helping other people transform along with us. And knowing if we've done it for ourselves, we can do it for other people. And that's the key part, because as we grow as coaches, as leaders, as consultants, whatever it is that we're doing, if we're not working on ourselves, how can we ask other people to work on themselves?
Yeah.
Right? We have to set the example. We have to be in that place where what we're doing is inspiring other people to do similar things. And how we're doing it is the inspiration. The simple fact that we're showing up and we're doing it, right? And we're not stopping, and we're in that place where we're consistent and we're supportive and we're real, we're authentic, right? Working hard is good, but working authentic is the one that makes the difference for the other person, because everybody can tell when you're not being authentic. There's no way around that one, because it may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, but it will happen where they're going to go, wait a second, he's talking out the side of his face. He's not doing what he's talking about. And they will notice. So we want to avoid that at all costs. We want to be in that place where who we are is who we are. And we're not trying to get other people, because that's what you're going to teach the other person. That's what you're going to teach your clients. And that's when they're going to start to wait, this isn't working because it's not really me. And that's where the house of cards falls apart. So we're getting pretty far along. We're almost at 40 minutes. I'm going to click on some banners here, and I want you to just talk about them for a second. You've got a free consistency planner.
Yeah. So this is a gift I thought I'd offer to your audience as we're entering into the new year. And if you are somebody who wants, when we talked about time management and how how you got to focus on something and
Yep.
constrain yourself almost. And that matters more than doing a million different things kind of halfway. I wanted to offer your group my 3-day free consistency challenge and planner. So this planner, you can copy and paste this link or screenshot it. But if you can also go to haileyrowe.com/consistency, and that's the day one of the challenge that you could start with.
Cool.
So I would love to help you more consistent in the new year, and that planner will help you do that.
Beautiful, beautiful. And of course, this is your website.
Yep. And that's just where you can reach out to me. You can book a call if you'd like. We have some testimonials. Instagram, that is where I'm pretty active, and a little more personal too. So feel free to join me over there. More client wins on that. And then Facebook, that's my Facebook page, facebook.com/official Hailey Rowe. LinkedIn, I love LinkedIn. One of my favorite platforms. I'm a little slow to answer my messages sometimes, but feel free to reach out to me.
That's okay. That's all good.
And then my Facebook group, Health Coach Nation. So that one's for health coaches, life coaches, mindset coaches, really for coaches who want to grow their business and network with others. You can go to that community.
Beautiful.
And then this is my podcast, Health Coach Nation, which we talk more about business on that show.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And how often do you put out an episode, Hailey?
Every Friday.
Every Friday. At what time?
Ooh, it depends. I should know the answer to that, but it just depends on when my team gets it out.
There you go. Okay, cool. So also you pre-record your podcasts?
Yeah. So I usually do them live in various times during the week, and then they become podcasts on Friday.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well done, well done. Well, it's been a great opportunity for you to share and a really, really awesome value you've shared with us today. Thank you so much for your free consistency planner. I am so stoked and happy to have had the opportunity to finish my 2021 in such an honorable way. Thank you, Hailey, for being with us tonight. Is there anything you'd like to add before we stop the live stream?
No, I think this has really been fun, and I appreciate you for having me, and I love that you are so committed to your message.
Thank you so much, Hailey. I really appreciate that. All right. So Hailey and I are going to have a little bit of chat, but you guys are getting ready for the new year. So I want to wish everybody out there a happy new year. Wherever you're watching this on the replay, give me a hashtag replay. Let me know where you're watching from. And of course, depending on which platform you're watching, connect with me. Let me know what you want. Give me some suggestions for content and so on and so forth. So I'm very, very happy to be with everybody. And it's a sad time when I got to say goodbye, but we can't stay on here forever. Much love, my friends. Take care. Happy New Year.